Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Adletta from Digital Lumens. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about why it pays to be smart with respect to LED lighting in industrial applications. So Digital Lumens, we're a Boston-based company. Again, we make intelligent LED luminaires for the industrial space. We're a relatively new company, but we have a team of guys who are steeped in sort of LED design history. They're some of the founders of a company called Color Kinetics, which did a lot of high-end architectural LED lighting in the early days of LEDs, a lot of pioneering there. Those guys were subsequently acquired by Philips, and then they moved over to Digital Lumens. So we've got a lot of LED design history, a lot of experience there building and designing luminaires. So we feel like we really lead the way as far as intelligent lighting goes. We believe that from the ground up, your approach has to be the integration of new technology with lighting. So each of our luminaires has the intelligence, sensors, networking built in to the fixture. We have a management system that goes along with the luminaires, a front-end software package for control, monitoring, reporting, verification, that sort of thing as well. And we believe that we have ultimately that translates into the most energy saved and the lowest total cost of ownership for these type of fixtures in the space. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We think we have the only truly intelligent lighting system end-to-end. So we do everything from design and development and manufacturing of the luminaires through the networking infrastructure and software development on the front end for the user experience and control there. So we do end-to-end intelligence. The focus is on intelligence, but we believe it also starts with great light, with the ultimate goal of saving a lot of money and saving energy to the energy efficiency point. So this is what we get when we have a bunch of engineers who do marketing. We get equations. We believe it to be true, though, right? It's three parts on the front end. That efficiency, flexibility, and reliability are ultimately what lead you to maximize savings. You're going to get some savings with a little bit of each one of those, but you put all three together and you really have the ability to tweak out all of the savings that you can get out of a lighting system. In this case, we've proven it out with 100 plus major deployments, lots of major customers, saved a lot of energy, et cetera, et cetera. It all starts, though, with the great light, right? So it's great if you have controls or aftermarket sensors that you can strap on, but if you're not dealing with a good light that gives you good output, that gives you good color, that puts the light where you want it, when you want it, it's not going to be something that the customer is going to ultimately accept. So we say 100% of the light for 10% of the energy. And how do we get to the 10% of the energy? Obviously, it starts with the lower power consumption of the LEDs in general, but it really has to do with the integrated sensing and intelligence and controls that each of the fixtures and ultimately the software package provides. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. As an example of this, what we like to say is saving money and saving energy doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have bad light. Right, so this is an example of a cold storage facility that we retrofitted. You can see in the picture they were using some HID lights prior to the install. They were getting about 9-foot candles, that really kind of ugly yellowish light. We replaced that on a one-for-one basis with our LED fixtures, and the light quality went up. The foot candles on the floor went up, the control went up, and more importantly, energy consumption was cut by 87%. So right now we have a product portfolio. We have 10,000 lumen and 15,000 lumen fixtures, high bay and low bay options. So a narrow optic for racked installations and a more diffuse optic for open spaces. Flexibility really is what's going to give you maximum savings in this case. We recognize that every facility that we install in has their own unique set of requirements. And that goes from cold storage facility to cold storage facility, or from cold storage to warehousing, or warehousing to manufacturing, so intra and inter sort of industry. right? And in order to accommodate those differences, you really have to have the flexibility of the fixture, whether it's change in type of facility, change over calendar time, change with business process, whatever the change is, you have to be able to accommodate that to really maximize savings. For example, really simple, right? In a single facility, you might have multi-use areas. You might have an area that's off, you might have an area that's fully on, and you might have areas that are in between where we need more aggressive timeouts or we need better dimmer settings, things like that. Really, the flexibility is key here, and we'll talk through a little bit of each of those features of our product and how they relate directly to savings. Ultimately, a lower power fixture with great flexibility isn't good if it doesn't provide you the reliability, right? If you can't count on it day in, day out for years on end. So we believe in designing the fixtures up front for the industrial space, rugged design, obviously tested, certified, listed, all the appropriate things that you need in order to be able to sell the light, get the rebates, put them into these type of areas, and we back that with a really great support package, right? We have a 5-year warranty on the fixtures. I like to think that our support guys who go out on these calls are really world-class support. We get a lot of feedback from our customers. Our guys go out to these facilities, take care of problems, do the installs, do the software training, and really handhold these guys throughout the whole process to make sure that the installation is as effective as possible. This is tested and proven, right? Lots of large-scale, big companies in the manufacturing, cold storage, food processing space using our stuff. So how do we get the savings? When we say 87%, 90%, 100% of the light for 10% of the energy, how do we get there? Obviously, off the top, you've got the lower power consumption of the LEDs inherently, right? Then we've got savings that we accrue via the intelligence of the fixtures. I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that as well. You get additional savings from the maintenance, right? You're not going to be doing any relamping over time with these things. You're not going to have to replace a lot of these fixtures. We have a lot of anecdotal evidence from our customers that say, oh wow, you know, when we replace these 450 watt HID fixtures with your 160 watt fixtures that might only be on 20% of the time, our chillers really, the loads come off, and we can really dial that, those chillers back and really capture additional savings there that we don't necessarily calculate in on the front end. So it's sort of additional benefit that they get there. Then there's obviously all the incentives that we get, both in terms of utility rebates, tax credits, all that kind of thing that really make the system pay for itself. So we get the wattage savings, right, up front, and we get the intelligence savings. That's really what drives that big bar down to the little bar. In the interest of time, I'm just going to move on. This is how the math works, right? 465 watt HID fixture, 160 watt fixture for us. Then there's the occupancy issue, right? We deal with a lot of facilities in the storage space, and they look at these numbers and they say, oh, that can't really be. Our facility's really busy. Yeah, you're right. Your facility's really busy. We talk about occupancy, we really talk about total lighting time. What we talk about is the average light only happens to be on 20% of the time, even if you've got guys running around that facility all of the time. And the beauty of our system is that we've got actual reporting on the front end via the software package, web-enabled software package, to be able to look at those reports and show them. So it's great when we go hang demos and they say, no, it's got to be, it's 50%, it's 60%, it's 70%. No, actually, it's only 25, and here's the report that actually can verify that for you. So our experience, specifically in something like cold storage, is that 20 to 30% average occupancy is about what happens there. So you can see the math. That's how we get to that to 93%. Just a little bit more on savings as I'm getting the sign for time from the back. All of these things play into how you save money, right? So we talk about advanced scheduling. We've got a nice Outlook-ish kind of interface. So if you're running 2 shifts on out of 3 shifts, you can set your 3rd shift to do something different, all from the comfort of your office or your laptop. If you're working weekdays instead of weekends, that sort of thing, we've got a nice advanced scheduling interface to save money there. Timeouts are really important. So the beauty of having lights that are all controlled via a PC that have all of the functions and features available to be controlled via a PC is that you can really tweak things and dial them in for maximum savings. If you have to get up on a lift 30 feet in the air in your minus 20-degree freezer, every time you want to change a setting on a fixture, the reality is you're not going to change the settings on a fixture very often, right? So there's a huge difference between a 5-minute timeout on your occupancy sensor, 3-minute timeout, all the way down to a 30-second timeout in terms of saving you money. And we believe that dialing those in really helps you at the end of the day. And have the data to show that. I'm happy to talk more about that if you're interested after this. In addition, dimming, demand response, reporting, all that kind of stuff, we believe that getting accurate and timely information at the end of the day that helps the customer make good business decisions is what's going to help them maximize savings. In summary, we believe in making great lights designed for the industrial segment that give you maximum flexibility in order to maximize savings. Intelligence doesn't cost you more, it gives you more. It's all about savings and functionality at the end of the day. Questions?
Do you want to start?
How do you handle security with your PC? Are you integrated with the company's security system, or do you have a separate PC that handles this?
From an access to the system perspective, there's a full administrative interface, so you'd have...
Right. Where this is coming from, we've had a similar system that we've tested, and the presumption was that whatever company you're going to work with would be fine to just let you into their system. And they said not no, but heavens no. And so the solution was to have a separate PC that was dedicated to communicating with your system. That was an added cost that the developers had not anticipated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've got the way the architecture works, right, is basically the software sits on a server at the customer's facility. And we do everything, we have examples of doing everything from that being a standalone system that's not connected to the customer's network that only works on the lights. So you've got a guy who has to go to that specific server and do the work, all the way to something that sits on their corporate network where we have a highly secure tunnel into that so that we can actually do control reporting and stuff for them from our offices. So it's basically end-to-end. Wherever the customer feels comfortable, we can find something along that spectrum to work with them.
Thank you.
Randy Wong, PG&E. Question regarding the installation. You're talking about industrial facilities only? I mean, you don't have any commercial fixtures, is that correct?
That's right. It's high bay, low bay.
Oh, high bay, yeah, okay,
yep,
great.
Yep, for the time being. Anyway.
And then how many installations do you have currently?
More than 100.
More than 100, okay, great. And then how are the individual fixtures networked together?
They use Zigbee wireless protocol. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you worked with other utilities in other parts of the country and where there's third-party data that supports your savings? Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, when Edwin was talking about not just believe or the information that comes from you, it has a lot more credibility of if there's a third party like a utility that will say, yes, it saved this much.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Any of the rebates are going to be post-install, right? So yeah, we've got plenty of utilities that have verified the savings with our customers over time. Absolutely.
So are you talking about verification in terms of like a calculated type measure, or are you talking about the M&V work that on individual projects, or are you talking about M&V for the entire?
I guess both. I mean, it really boils down to what the specific question is, okay. Right? So we've got everything from independent third parties putting a logger on that specific light to verify that the information that we gather on the light matches what an industrial grade sort of logger would take, all the way to meter level kind of stuff where we're saying over an entire facility we've saved this much energy, and they're trying to verify that indeed we did save that much energy.
Because you mentioned about 20 to 30%. I guess occupancy in warehouses. So I assume that has been verified through actual projects, and I guess to your question absolutely. Earlier, so all your experiences tells you 20 to 30%. However, has there been any case studies independently assessed and metered that you could share with us?
Yep.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. You were talking about DR, How does that work?
Yeah, so we integrate with the OpenADR protocol right now. Right now, it's because the control of the lights is all software-based, right now it's a manual interface in the sense that if you got your demand response call, however that comes, right, you can push out a demand response profile to all the lights, so the lights effectively change their behavior, right? What we're actively looking for now is a partner to do the integration work with. So someone who really wants to integrate their lights with the automated call from the utility so that they end up not having to touch it, right? The call comes, the lights automatically react and change their behavior. So right now it's a manual process. We're looking for somebody who actually wants to do it in an automated way.
So you're saying your software currently allows for that, so that it talks OpenADR. So if the utility pushes a signal, through its servers, would it then be able to respond to that? But I don't understand the partner piece.
Yeah, so right now it's not done in an automated fashion. So somebody would have to get that call for to dial down the power consumption, and they would have to go to the system and push out that new profile. Okay. What we're looking for is someone who's interested in making that final connection between the automated signal and automated lighting response, right? So the capability, the hooks are all built there into the software. We're just looking for somebody who actually wants to do it. We haven't found that want.
Yeah,
are you talking about a test site that would want to test it?
A customer that actually wants to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. So the partner is not like a business partner, but you're talking about
it's actually a customer who
that
wants
willing
to integrate their lighting system into an automated demand response.
All right.
So question about the motion sensors, are they located on each fixture or would be centralized?
Nope,
for
each fixture.
Each fixture, okay. And you could remotely control each fixture too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Got a question in the back.
Kevin, do we have, how much time do we have? Okay, go ahead.
My question is about the control strategies. You mentioned occupancy sensors. Do you do any photosensor type of controls for daylight harvesting or lumen? For
daylight harvesting? Yeah, we're actively working on that. And that'll be the same approach as the occupancy sensor. It'll be integrated with each fixture, fully controllable. So we don't do that today, but we will in the near future.
Do you have your own occupancy sensors and photosensors? Do you collaborate with someone else to get the sensors from them?
So right now we use an off-the-shelf occupancy sensor. What we recognize is we've got some development work on our own going on. Occupancy sensors really are vacancy sensors, right? The off-the-shelf stuff is really trying to detect when no one's there rather than someone's there when someone's there. So what you end up with is sensors that aren't necessarily as responsive and accurate as they could be. So we're doing our own custom development work on a sort of next generation of occupancy sensors for use there. But right now they're off the shelf. Similar strategy with daylight harvesting.
Well, let me clarify. You mentioned vacancy sensors. In my mind, vacancy sensors are actually occupancy sensors, and when they don't measure occupancy after a certain period, you conclude vacancy. So
yeah, well, so I guess the difference is the current sensors are really looking to turn something off when the presence of something isn't there. What you really want with lights that are off is something that's going to detect something and turn the lights instantly on. So you really care more about the detection rather than when you turn something off, if that makes sense. So it's really accurate detection of some motion there rather than looking to turn something off when the motion isn't there. So it's a subtle difference, but the difference is definitely there in terms of accuracy and what the sensor is required to do.
So, I mean, just to add to Michael's question is, how do you get that manual on sequence of operation then? I mean, vacancy
so they work. I mean, don't get me wrong. They work today. We just think that they can work better, and that it'll give us more of a competitive advantage.
But
in
you
the
say
market.
when it works, that sequence of operation again is the light turning on automatically and turning off automatically, correct?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So it's just it is an occupancy sensor, not
Yeah,
a
yeah,
vacancy sensor.
absolutely. It's an off-the-shelf occupancy sensor that we use right now. Yep.
Okay. Thanks for your questions. Time's up. Thank you, Joe. I
Everybody.
guess we'll have some opportunity to
Yep,
maybe have
I'll be
some
around.
follow-up conversations with